Welcome to the third episode of Meet Your Neighborhood Police. I'm your host Judy, and today we have officers Mircha Biga and Farzad Gatbi, and they're going to talk about the future of community policing. So how do you see the future going forward when it comes to community policing? How do you see your role evolving?
As a police officer, you are working from so many levels with a person. You have to be a teacher, you have to be a counselor, you have to be a parent sometimes, you have to be a friend, you have to be an enforcer at the same time. So doing this kind of job without human touch, it's extremely difficult. So I think what neighborhood policing, community policing brings, it's the human touch. It's the luxury that other officers don't have. You know, if they have to run from call to call, emergency answer, they don't have the luxury of sitting down with people and actually listening to their problems, listening to their stories. And many times that's all it takes. We have elderlies in this in Regent Park, in some buildings. We have young kids. They don't really need anything. They just need someone to listen to their stories. And they're habitual callers. They would call 911 for whatever reason, because you know it's about education as well. You know, they don't know when to call, when not to call. A lot of people don't call when it's really important for them to call, and some other, you know, call even when it's not necessary, right? Mm-hmm. So we have that role also of educating people. We're giving advice to people. And how can you get advice from someone if you don't trust that person? How are you going to listen to someone? Okay, this is what I suggest you should do if you disrespect that person of the profession or the person in front of you. It has to be that human touch. It has to be that relationship, that trust, that respect, that it's only built through time, through conversation, communication. And that's what neighborhood policing does.
Mm-hmm. So you've been in this role for 4 years now. So in your experience, what do you think can be improved on?
I'm not sure how much time we have, but time is exactly what we needed initially. It took us about 2 years just to get to know people, the neighborhood, and vice versa, for people to kind of understand who we are, what we're about, and have their trust in us. And now after 4 years, we're just beginning to see the fruits of our labor. And collectively, I think what we can see to improve, just like anything else, improvement is an ongoing thing. And time is what we need, is to continue the work and to establish something that's valuable. And you know, it's hard to put in exact how long, but it all depends on the level of the comfortness of everyone involved together. And we're more than happy to continue in our work and invest in our community, because we can only see good come out of it. Because again, when you face issues, when you face as a team, that's the only way you're going to be able to solve it. So in terms of improvement, having more interactions between the police and the community is key.
Well, as we mentioned, I believe earlier, you know, when the program started, we didn't really have direct and clear directions, you know, which way we're gonna go, what are we supposed to do in the neighborhood. We're just told, you know, this is your neighborhood, do the best out of it. So obviously, the hardest part is behind us, and next generations, next officers are gonna replace us eventually. They will have a little bit of an easier road because it's paved now. We know that balance is key for our role, you know, and that was validated by teachers and the professors from Humber College when they analyzed the program and they looked at other programs throughout the world, you know, what is the best approach. and balance was very important. It's important to be part of the community through community events, meetings, activities. At the same time, you have to be an enforcer. If someone is getting victimized, if you know people are you know crying for help, and they're reaching for someone, you know, to help them with a certain, you know, suspect or a group of people, then if we're not doing anything, we're letting them down. So we are the last resort, you know, then you know when people need some help, and we have to not disappoint them. Unfortunately, there are always going to be, in any society, there are going to be elements that are creating, you know, distrust and dividing people, and creating this, I don't even know how to call it, the subculture of, you know, don't trust the police, don't talk to the police, we're running the show, and people live in fear, people live in, you know, not knowing exactly what the next step has to be, and having us part of their team to coach them, to advise them, and to enforce the law when it has to be done, I think it's very important, because if we're not going to do it, who else will?
Mm-hmm. So we're talking about your success stories in doing community policing and stuff. It sounds like you guys are making a positive change. So what do you think the long-term effects would be down the road?
Well, the long-term effects is that we're hoping that we grow this neighborhood policing into more people being involved, which we actually have. Regent Park was the first neighborhood policing program, and it has already, within this short span of 4 years, we have expanded into other areas within the downtown core, and we're hoping that we will get even more numbers, because it's just two of us, and you know we have another team of two that when we're not working. But when you have only two people working in a big community, in a dense community, you know we can only go so far. Mm-hmm. And I believe having a bigger, stronger team can only help alleviate some of those challenges that we face. You know that we need to reach out to people, because like Mircea was saying, you know if people are reaching out to us and we can't help them, what good are we? And the only way to do that is that to increase the numbers and to educate and also get more people involved with us, so they get to know more about us as well, and so we can do this together.
Mm. But like you were saying, that one girl paved the way for the rest, so maybe that's what you'll be doing too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And just going back to the girl, and she actually started her own organization, and it's all made out of females, and it's something like that. It just takes a little one step to make a much larger impact, and it's collective, and I think now that we know what we're doing, where we're going, we need to just kind of expand on that and make it grow into a much bigger positive.
Mm-hmm. And did you want to add?
We're living proof that the program is working. We're being approached by tenants, by stakeholders from other areas, from the Esplanade, from St. Jamestown, or other areas that don't have a program, a neighborhood officer program, and they are pulling us, can you guys help us? Can you guys get involved? Unfortunately, it's extremely busy as it is in Regent Park for us. It takes most of our time. But having officers dedicated to those areas, would be a huge asset, for the police. I know it's a struggle right now with the number of officers and the budget cuts and all that. And this program, unfortunately, needs officers. You can't do it through technology. Technology is helping us, and as we speak, 51 Division actually the first division to have this pilot project, which is called Connected Officers. So we're all issued with a cell phone that has a lot of programs that are assisting us in doing our work a little bit better. And that's a great asset, but at the same time, you need officers to do this kind of work. Because, we have phone calls, we have tip lines, we have internet, but people don't feel calling those numbers because they don't know who's behind. They don't know who's, and it's a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of misconceptions, like who's answering these calls, where is my information gonna get and how it's going to get solved. We know how the process works, and that's why it's important for us to be present, physically in the community, so we can explain to the people, how it works, so they have more trust in it. But to get to that level, they need us. They need neighborhood officers. They need people, to speak face to face.
So just to add on, personally myself, I've been working about 16 years here in 51 Division, and all my career I've been here. And I would say in the last 4 years that I've been doing the neighborhood police with Mircha, I don't know how many counts of times that I've even passed this building here prior to being a neighborhood officer, and I never thought twice about it. There's so many great organizations in this area here. There's so many great people here, but we're not connected whatsoever. We only get connected only when there is an absolute emergency. And being part of this neighborhood program, I can honestly tell you the last 4 years of my career, we made so much friendship and partnership, and some of them lifelong, and that we even speak even on our days off because they're our friends. Friends don't have, 9 to 5. It's there for life, to make those friendship relationship. I think it speaks for itself, and it's something that we need more of, especially when it comes to working as a police officers. We got to be able to connect.
Right.
There's one more, if I can add, if we have time. Our role as ambassadors, because many people in the neighborhood, they got to know us, and they say, oh, I want to talk to these officers because I trust them, I like these officers, I trust them. What we're trying to pass on is that all officers are to be trusted. Right. We're all part of the same team, it's just a matter of, you know us better, but if we're not present at a time, you should trust all the officers, right, because we all received the same training. We all got the job for the same reasons of helping people and getting engaged and getting involved and protecting and serving. So I think it's very important for people to hear that from us, that we are vouching for the officers. And at the same time, if there's some bad experiences, we want to hear about them, and we want to change that. Because Toronto Police Service went through drastic changes in the last few years, and we changed the way we're doing policing. And it's still not perfect, but this is the only way we can improve from, through feedback from the community. That's the only way we can sort things out and get a little bit better.
Great. Well, thank you so much for the informative conversation. Thanks for watching yet another episode of Meet Your Neighborhood Police. I'm your host, Judy, and thank you, Officers Biga and Gopti, for being in studio with us. And we hope you learned a lot about what your neighborhood police can do for you.